everybody wants a blue chip recruit. Everybody wants an All-American. Everyone wants a Charizard, right? But they don't see the Charmander or the amateur in them. You know, Charizard is a third evolution of Charmander, meaning that there are two stages that Pokemon has to go through, has to evolve through, two different stages of challenges before they get to the creme de la creme. They get to what everybody, the superstar, the MVP that everybody wants. Sure.
So Chazz the Great. There, I like the hat. It's got a Gatorade sign. That's cool. I was like, God is great.
Yeah. My Instagram handle is a constant reminder of what I desire to be, not something that I am. So
it ain't built around arrogance. It's built around what you want to be, future.
Yeah. And this is actually the first time I've been able to like articulate that. So I feel like we're already off to a great start.
Give me like the 1 minute introduction on who you are. Let's leave out the where you're at right now, and then we'll get into that. But what led you up until well, we know you're in the cosmic baseball. We know that stuff. What do you got? How'd you get baseball, school, stuff like that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. The 1 minute spiel, Chazz Kirkland from south side of Chicago, born and raised. Started playing baseball when I was 3. Can't really say like why or what kind of led all the way up to that. What I remember is I used to go to an arcade with my grandmother. Grandma being grandma, trying to find something for her grandkid to be occupied for a couple hours. And this arcade had a home run derby machine. Got involved in that. Never put it down. Got to the point where they had to like put a sign on the machines to say, hey, you've only got like 15 minutes using this game, because I would spam it. That kind of transition from that spark, that passion, to going in the little league, and played for 27 years. So just continuing to build and grow, and just enjoy it, seeing where it takes me. I say 27 years just because I took some time off. Haven't played every single year of my life, obviously, but really trying to you asked me who I am. Removing baseball from that is like, wow, there's some other cool things that I feel like I've done in my life from a sales and business capacity, but outside of that, baseball, anime, and traveling. That's really what I find myself enjoying these days. So
where'd you go to school?
I went to a small school, Division III at the time, but NAI for a majority of its existence. Iowa Wesleyan University, as a part of the SLIAC conference in the NCAA, and it is now no longer in existence. So I feel like I'm the last Tiger with the Iowa Wesleyan University Tigers playing. So,
oh man,
yeah,
R.I.P.
Yeah, right.
How'd you go from college to to go pro leagues? Was it right away? Did you take a time off? Did you how'd you get all into it?
I graduated high school in 2015. Got into school that fall of 2015. Played for 4 years. Was all conference, utility guy. Was one of those characters that had a lot of work ethic. Tried really hard. Didn't have the results that one might have imagined with that work ethic and effort. But I love the game. And I think that's something that I found to be a superpower later on in life. Very rarely the first one to get it out of the gate. Was never that blue chip recruit or, Division I prospect for that matter. But I had a work ethic that was professional level. What was interesting about my college career is that I played in a really good conference. 8 to 10 teams in our conference, and 4 to 5 of them were always ranked in the top 25 in the country. I saw guys that got drafted. One of the guys, Josh Fleming, I believe he's with the Pirates currently, had a journeyman's career in Major League Baseball, played for 4 or 5 organizations, made it there, got his time. And I share that because throughout my career, I had these little like crumbs, these little bits of confidence that were just kind of came my way. And this was a guy, like I said, he drafted out of Division III baseball, pitcher of the year multiple times, ended up getting picked up by the Rays. Um, but he always just complimented my bat. I always played well against them. They were always, the number one team. They do that. They manufacture those guys. I was always the type to evaluate myself based off of who I was going up against, not what I've done like previous, right? And at that time, like it was the best baseball that I was playing by far. Mind you, Chris, I come from a single parent household. My mom didn't know very much about baseball. So I was not tapped in. I did not have the information that I have today. Very much a rec league guy, community league, all-star, this, that, and the other. But didn't really like go to a whole lot of PG tournaments and all these other things. A local kid trying to figure it out. So at that level, at that time, I'm just seeing guys that like, damn, like, this dude is famous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's getting love like on the internet for his performance. And back in 2015, I'm sure you remember when, Twitter was brand new and like all these different platforms were coming out when Instagram was still based off of pictures and not videos. So that was a lot. Like clout like that at that time was a lot. And this dude was 2 years older than me. So just sharing all that to say like, throughout that experience in itself, I always believed that I had something in me, like truth be told, and you can ask some of my collegiate teammates, is that I would think about and verbalize like, like this can't be it. Where we're at, this can't be the end of our careers. And I'm, like I said, I'm an anime guy. I'm always dreaming big. I'm out there. My mind is out there. But I legit remember saying like, like, we could beat Iowa because the University of Iowa is probably about like 40 minutes south or north from us. And, at one point we got on their schedule for a fall exhibition and ended up not working out because it snowed. However, we were that type of school. And mind you, like I wanted to play against Iowa, thought I could walk on Iowa, all these different things, all these different like, delusions that I would tell myself.
You have to be delusional though, right? You have to. You cannot be. You're not going to make it in these things. Go ahead, but yeah,
we'll bring this back up later because it's a key point. But had that early sense of delusion where it's just like, damn, like, this is the best dude in the league. This is the best pitcher in the league. Major league teams are scouting him. Like, I'm seeing him very well. I'm fouling stuff off. I'm hitting him hard. I'm putting stuff hard and play hard. I think like, either A, he's not that good, or I'm a lot better than I give myself credit. And it could be both, right? In the same breath, just tallying these votes. So to kind of make a long story short, I go through the rest of my collegiate career, played 4 years, like was just your typical D3, above average, somewhat standout, if you will. I ended up setting my school record for stolen bases, and I was always top 5 in the league in stolen bases and a couple other offensive categories. That was it. And I'll never forget, my last college game was like April 28th, something like that, of 2019. And I remember just like walking towards the bus because it was an away game. And my coach, who was at a Cosmic game in Omaha, I remember him saying like, it's like, yo, it doesn't have to be over for you. You're a really talented player. Have you ever thought about independent league? And I'm like, and he actually specifically named the Pecos League. And I said, coach, like, nah, like I'm good on it. Because at that time I had done a couple of internships. I was already like going into what, you might call corporate America and the workforce and all that stuff. So I was just trying to go and work and start to build a life for myself. But that was also because, Chris, I didn't have the information on like, what does professional baseball look like if you don't go to the major leagues, if you're not being scouted, recruited to be drafted, or even, signed. I had no idea about what indie ball was in the United States. I had no idea that there were international leagues that compensated people well, that, you know what I'm saying, didn't know about the MLB in Japan or the KBO in Korea or the LMB in Mexico, all these different things. Was just clueless, was just ignorant, and had no information. So I really went into my sales career at that point. And I think 2019 to 2021, beginning of the year 2021 was a real like reality check in a lot of ways, right? It was the first time that I was like, completely entirely on my own, with no cushion to kind of like sit on per se. When you're in school, you kind of have some sort of like safety net to an extent. You know where you're going to go back to in the
Right.
fall for the most part. You know what I'm saying? You've got a team, you got housing, you got all these things taken care of for you. But for me, I didn't have all that. Being in Chicago is very expensive, so had to find my way through a lot of these situations. And baseball was lost. I don't think I picked up a bat until I might have picked up a bat once in COVID because we were in Iowa and I was with my teammates and we just went to go, hit the ball and all that stuff. And we were bored, you know what I'm saying? But competitively, didn't pick up a bat probably for a year and a half, going on 2 years. So I went into the sales force, developed these sales skills, worked a little bit, regular life stuff. My first year in the sales organization didn't do well. My second year did a lot better. And I think what that did for me is like it just kind of refined my my mental fortitude in a way to where it's like, Chazz, like above all else, like, you're gonna figure this out before you fail. And that really helped me when I got back into baseball. As the world began to open back up, obviously so did baseball. You began to go back to stadiums, go back to games and this, that, and the other. And Chris, when I tell you, like when they opened up those stands back to like 50% capacity, that summer of 2021, I probably went to about 30 White Sox games, which for someone that doesn't have like season tickets, I feel like is a lot. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
So just really getting back into the game. And at that same time, I'd found a men's league. And what I thought was interesting about that entire experience is that, sometimes you might need to put something down to pick it back up again. And I think that that's kind of what that hiatus from baseball was for me, because as I was getting into this men's league that I really, initially said no to, this coach, Zach Peluso, shout out to him, great guy, just randomly messaged me on Facebook for my birthday. It was like, hey, happy birthday, bro. Like, I know what you're capable of on the field. Would love to add you to, just our men's league team. It's competitive, it's fun, but, it's very chill at the same time. You're not going to practice or anything, you know what I'm saying? Nothing of that nature. So initially I declined. I said, hey, appreciate you reaching out, but like, I'm good. I'm done with baseball, yada, yada, yada. That was in January. Fast forward to March of 2021. He's like, hey, season's about to start in a month. We get going mid-April. Would love to, just have you around. And it's like, hey, here are the player fees. Like, I think it was like $300 for the entire season, uniform, umpire fees, yada, yada, yada. He was like, but, let me take care of that. Right. Like, you don't worry about that. If you decide, come to the first just 2 weekends. If you decide to play, then we'll figure out the player fees and all that stuff later. But just come check it out. I was like, okay, cool. We end up playing this game, and Chris, man, like when I tell you, like I had the most fun going 0 for 4, I did, and it was just like damn, you're not what you used to be. But then in the same capacity, it's like, oh, like I learned I can do some different things that I didn't really know how to do or think I was capable of doing back in college, and all these different just changes physically, because I was a couple of years older. I think I was a little bit smarter as well. Like I had been watching the game a lot more, you know what I'm saying? Because there's not a whole lot to do when the world is locked up. I think that first weekend, all that failure, it excited me so much to where I was like, yo, like I actually want to see, like, can I be decent? Can I be decent again? And the next weekend, came back, went 0 for 4 again, but instead of 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, I put the ball in play a couple of times. I was like, okay, like cool, like, gradually build up.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, I realized something about myself. Either Chazz is like all in or he's not. I'm either gonna do it and I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability, or it's like it's best if I just don't touch it because I'm not interested. And that's what I realized about baseball is like I know a lot of people, they might play, a beer league softball or beer league baseball where it's just I'm here for shits and giggles. And I deeply, deeply admire those people because I don't have any of that in me. And it's something that we'll talk about a little bit more when we get to Cosmic, to where it's just different. And when I was in those men's league games, I was very competitive. I started to keep like stats for myself. I started to record my at bats and like put them in a journal and all these different things. I started to go on the San Francisco Giants YouTube channel to watch all their spring training videos of the proper way to field a ground ball, the proper way to get on the inside part of the baseball, all these different things, these little bits of knowledge that I think people still don't know exist. For lack of better words, I think I became a student of the game again, to the point where it drove me up a wall, because like I was like, this is a men's league. Most of these dudes haven't played competitively in years, and their highest level of experience may have been college. And then I got to learn a little bit more about the leagues, where it's like, oh, like a lot of these guys in this specific league, they're former Division I guys, they're former indie ball guys, like that were 10 to 15 years removed, but they still played. It just made it a little bit more competitive, because like I said, Chazz thought he could walk on to Iowa. So now that Chazz knows that this guy pitched to Illinois, it's a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Mind you, Chris, he ain't pitched for Illinois in like 15 years,
Right.
20 years. You know what I'm saying? But it's still like I got a point to prove. 2 weekends after that, it just clicked. And I went 1 for 4, but I went 1 for 4 with an absolute bomb. And the field that we're playing on, there's like a little league field with no fence, where they're just playing. I hit it into their field of play. Like one of the outfielders got the home run ball that I hit and threw it back, over to us and all that stuff. It just started to churn. And I bring up the White Sox aspects because I looked at that as an opportunity to truly like evaluate, like, this is the best of the best in the world, right? I'm looking at them do things that, and I'm saying this because this is just how my mind works, not to be funny, but it's like, yeah, I can strike out 3 times in a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can make that error. I also think that I can make that play, or I could hit off this guy or do this or do that. So, not to diminish or take anything away from a big leaguer, because they're where they are for a reason. I think that I had enough delusion in myself to believe that I was capable of executing at that level in a similar capacity.
Close, right? I mean, it wasn't like you were, that's not a pipe dream. That was something that you played. So,
and that was something that I really like believed in. So I doubled down on it. So that summer of 2021, I started off in April on one team. By the end of that summer and fall, that baseball season, I had finished playing on 3 men's league teams. Shout out to Ryan Vega. He was my teammate on that initial men's league team called the War Dogs that we started. And Ryan had Frontier League experience. And Ryan is kind of, I tell him that he's the reason that I'm where I'm at today, because Ryan had a conversation with me that he approached me about, to where it was like, hey, I see that you're very competitive. I see that this is like something that's way more than just a Saturday men's league game. When do you want to have a conversation about you trying to go pro? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, just like, first and foremost, like, shout out to you for like you peeping that, you know what I'm saying? Like, for you seeing that. No one else said anything to me about it. It was just him. Secondly, just thank you for opening up the door for the conversation, because I think that it's something that more people struggle with now in baseball than they ever did before, where it's like, where do I go? What do I do? Who do I talk to? How do I get this going without me being someone that's highly sought after or a top 100 recruit? You know what I'm saying?
do you feel like, I know Ryan. I'm north of Chicago, so I've chilled with him for a minute. The Benito Juarez League.
I saw that.
I got to go behind the scenes and just kind of listen to those guys, spit some stories. Really cool, You said shout out to Ryan. I mean, how many guys also are going to be like, let me help you when I could be doing something for myself? That's big.
That part. And to piggyback off that, how many people are going to do that for you for free? Shout out to the entire Vega family, because his dad, his brother Gunner, you know what I'm saying? They also helped me out a lot too. It alludes to a later point, but it takes a village. There's no one man show. There's no one man army. And you know about the Benito Juarez League. It's competitive. Um, there's
Yes,
some
it
real
is.
ballers there. There's some real opportunity for you to grow. There's people with experience in that league. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think enough people know that, you can go to south side of Chicago and find some of the best competitive baseball out there. And instead of going to, this PG league in Georgia or whatever, you can really find a spot, find a place to get it in for a weekend, and
Yeah.
I think that it did a lot for me, because Chris, I graduated from Homewood Flossmoor High School, and I played against a lot of Caucasian athletes. That's what I grew up around. That's what I was around. My mom did everything in her power to make sure that I didn't go to school in Maywood, which is where I was really a resident of. That I didn't go to a CPS school or these different places. You know what I'm saying? She did her very best, but also in a lot of ways, I missed out on competitive interactions with those types of athletes, those types of kids that grew up there. And I think that that's what the Benito Juarez League did for me. I think that that's what saying yes to that one opportunity to playing for that men's league, it opened my eyes up to being able to play baseball in different environments, against different demographics and just in different locations. Because I found that I performed better when I played up north in the suburbs. I was a lot more relaxed. I was a lot more confident, but it took me a little bit to really find myself and find that same athletic ability on the south side. You know what I'm saying? And I think that could be talked about a lot more. You know what I'm saying? No different than playing on the north side in Wrigley versus the south side at the rate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like these different experiences I feel really came together all in one setting before I shipped off to South Florida, because ultimately that's what the conversation that Ryan and I had, it led me running an opportunity for guys who were in my situation, no real experience, no real namesake for themselves, but had and believed that they had ability and talent to go and get a partner league contract, or be seen somewhere, who gave me another field that I could just practice on and refine my craft and just get better and develop. It just so happened, Chris, that Barry Larkin is running workout groups out of this same university on this field from 10:30 to whenever these pros wanted to leave, that I went to every day. It just so happened, Chris, that I developed a relationship with Barry Larkin to where I was able to train with him during the off seasons in Florida. So I was able to meet guys like Jazz Chisholm Jr. and Willie Adames and Jose Torres, and all these, Mark Vientos and all these different guys, Xavier Edwards, that were in these training groups because they wanted to get better. I was able to meet a Jeter Downs. I was able to have all these different experiences with people to where you talked about something to where it's like, you know, you're able to have these encounters with these guys, these one-off moments and all these different things. But Chris, it was a little bit better than that for me, because I got to play catch with these dudes. I got to hit BP with these guys. I got to feel their strength. I got to see how they carry themselves, how they operate.
That's huge.
It's huge. And it gives you all these different votes of confidence to where it's like, damn, this dude like bleeds just like me. He gets irritated just like me. He fails just like me. All these different things, to where it's like, nah, bro, like I can really do this. That was my life from December 1st, 2021 to I signed in the Pioneer League in 2023. I was released in 2023, played in the Mavericks League in 2024, and then I was in Cosmic in 2025 and this year in 2026. And just that journey, right? Like it's a very unique one, very unconventional, and I'm I'm really in a place in life where it's like I learned a lot from that experience, and I want to share it.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of people like you that are in the same shoes that don't know what to do. It's pretty dark out there when you don't, you're kind of lost. You don't know what to do, and
Yeah.
you're trying to make a decision. So
Yeah.
I get you, man. That's the shout out to you for wanting to, just let people hear what's going on in your head. Because for me, I love that part. I love the game. I love what happens on the field. But for me, what happens off the field or the in between moments when you're thinking of what to do, what's
Mhm.
gonna happen,
Yeah.
trying to stay ahead, like all that's more attractive to me. That's the game. It's cool to hear your side, your perspective, what you went through, because a lot of people don't know too. You get when people say professional baseball player, they have pretty much one kind of thing in their head what it is, and hey, some guys, yeah, that is it. But what, 99 or 90 some odd percent, it not even close. There is no linear path.
Yeah. They don't make that. They
No,
don't.
man. I mean,
You
not
know,
everybody's a one pick, first round, getting the signing bonuses that are gonna, if you don't make it, you might be able to be
to
all
stay
right for a while.
yeah, but it's like it's only one. Thank God for opportunities like entertainment baseball, to where there's something for you to there's something else, right? Because if it's just those options and that's it, think about the talent that's been lost.
Well, yeah, not everybody can head over to Japan, Mexico,
You know what I'm saying?
whoever else that there's ball going on. I mean, I like that there's more leagues now. Or things are popping up more. You got the entertainment baseball. Like I said, I haven't been to a college game yet. I mean, I want to, but I'd rather see that, like I said, more than a banana ball one. That one seems, I don't know, something about it. Maybe it's just playing at night. I don't know. It's cool.
I think you'd be very pleased. Especially this last game that we just played. We were in Akron, Ohio's Saturday game. It felt that was by far the best game that we've played. And it was back and forth. We went into our cosmic game. It was 2-1. That was the score. The game finished 36-35.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like
Did
already
it
there,
turn
like,
into a football game or what?
see what I'm saying? So it's like there's so much that entertainment baseball is its own niche, as it's a singular thing. There are different products now that are popping up. There are different
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
shows, if you will. And I think what we're doing at Cosmic right now is very it's revolutionary. A really cool thing that I like about what we do is that the competitive nature of the game never changes, doesn't waver. We don't water that down. I think we've realized that a large part of our identity is that when people come to our games, they're naturally expecting something different, right? Because there's only been one thing, there's only been one predecessor,
Yeah.
and I think that naturally that comes with a narrative of its own. But when you go to a show and you're expecting something, you get something better than what you expected, or something different at the very least. It's very eye-opening, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that about our game. Um, our product are the lights. That's what people come to see. But I think it's really cool to be able to give them a really good game leading up to that. The videos just don't do it justice. When you see it in person, you're gonna be like, wow. And when you think about it, it's like ideally, like you shouldn't be able to do this.
No, no.
And in reality, I think that I'm becoming a better baseball player from what I do under the black lights.
I could
Uh,
see that, man. It's like a different it's almost like a different training method, right? I mean,
it's insane. And when you think about it, there's fastballs move, right? Like for the most part, it's very rare that you'll like, Major League Baseball, I feel like is trying to get away. Like organizations want guys that have high spin rate. They have balls that move, because that straight fastball, that straight four seam fastball, no matter how hard it is, if it's timed up, it can be driven out of here.
Yep.
But if you have late movement, late break, this, that, and the other, you're that much more effective. The ball is cutting and moving no differently under black lights than it would, regularly. It is so hard. And I don't think people, I think that kind of just naturally goes over people's heads because they're mesmerized, right, by what they're seeing, to where it's just like, I had a couple of fans come up to us at the end of the game on Saturday and was just like, yo, thank you so much for this show. This was great. Like, I knew that we were coming to a baseball game, but when I saw you guys out there, we were like, wow, they're balling, they're playing. And I'm like, yeah, like most people don't get it. And, as men, right, like as athletes, like no one wants to fail in front of 10,000 people. Like entertainment baseball or not, striking out in front of a full sold out crowd sucks. This is the first of its kind. It's the only thing out there that's like it. We just announced hockey. There's a lot of support behind this. I think that what we're doing is truly changing the game, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. I think it's cool to hear because now kids are coming up to us and they're just like, I want to play cosmic baseball when I grow up. It's just really cool to be a part of that, and it's really cool to be able to make an impact. Players are not the show. They're a part of the show, but they're not the show. I think that, once someone like really reminds themselves of that, to where it's like, yo, you striking out looking isn't as bad as it was when you were with the Northern Colorado Owls. They're a lot better off. And they begin that process of like, okay, like, my identity isn't attached to my results, because ultimately that's what that is. And it's so liberating when you get to that place, because then it's just like, damn, like I can do whatever, which I think is why you start to see the extreme cases of the entertainment side of sports come out, where it's like people are dressed up. Guys aren't wearing hats. It's not your traditional look, and this, that, and the other, because they're able to be a free version of themselves.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Which I think is cool. For me, I've the furthest that I've gone is putting on an Akatsuki cloak from Naruto, and I was in center field and I made all my plays. And that's a big thing too, though, right? Is like the ability to differentiate yourself and perform at the same time. Because, Chris, like I said, the competitive aspect doesn't change. Therefore, the aspect in which if somebody's on time and they hit this right center gap, that ball is still coming 105 miles per hour like it normally would. We're just in a different setting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's it's so unique. It's so cool because it's just this new thing where, 5 years ago they was telling Tim Anderson that you can't bat flip, and we over here wearing our favorite anime costume. You know what I'm saying? Making plays at a very high level, no differently than they are. So I think that that's like one aspect in a variety of them that like opens up this realm, this style of baseball, where it's like, damn, like I think I want to go do that. Because here's what's crazy is like, your major league pitcher, chances are, is going to get irritated if someone hits a 420-foot bomb off of him.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot less serious when Goku is in the box and he's doing that on, you know what I'm saying? Like he hits a homer. It's just like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Anime fan, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you are the main character, who are you? Are you like the rival that shows up, with the badass walk-up music, the mysterious dude, glowing hair, nobody knows what's going on? What do you see yourself as?
Me as a cosmic baseball player, I think I'm very much like Naruto, very much like Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. Very like I even remember coming into this where it was just, What is it going to be? What's it going to be like? And just seeing the growth that I've had from last year to this year is tremendous. Um, I told my teammates last year that I was like, I'm never gonna edit videos. I'm not gonna do dancing video. Like, this shit is weird. It's lame. Like this, that, and the
Right.
other. It's not me. A year later, Chris, I'm editing. I'm dancing. I'm trying to be in as many videos as I possibly can because I know what to do now. And I use the Naruto, the Ash from Pokemon example because I think both of those main characters, right? They wanted to be the very best in their world, in their universe, in their realm. And that is very much the same for me. Like I really want to be um, I want to be known. I want to be impactful. I want to be helpful. I want to be formidable. And no differently than my baseball journey that I shared earlier is like very rarely am I the first to figure something out. But when I do, is game on. And I think that is the same story for those two characters that I named. Ash didn't win a championship for 25 years. He kept going, kept going, kept going. Want to be a Pokemon master, but never won anything. Was always in the mix, was in the tournament, was in the competitions, but he never found himself on that side, on the other side, like victory. Naruto, he had to save the world before he got his respect, his knowledge, and I think that I'm very much in a similar lane. I'm trying to figure out this social media stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to get my name out there and post and do all these things, which ultimately, like, right, create a community, generate a following, and all these different things. But what I've learned is obviously comparison is a thief of joy. We were talking to my teammate about this earlier, and it's just like we all have different tools. We all have different abilities and capabilities, some that we know of and some that we're finding
Is
out
there a
about.
character, let's leave Ash out of it, that you relate to? You kind of bring a piece of its personality or its character to your game.
Character that I relate to. I think my most like relatable character in the show that I would say is Charmander, is Ash's Charmander, which is now Ash's Charizard. And I say this because the original story around Ash's Charizard is that he actually wasn't his. It was somebody else's Charmander that was abandoned, and it was abandoned because it was deemed weak. It wasn't as strong as what that trainer would have wanted, and just underestimated in every capacity. All these different things, and I relate that to my baseball career. I think I was underestimated. I think I was under recruited. I don't think that I was seen. Everybody wants a blue chip recruit. Everybody wants an All American. Everyone wants a Charizard, right? But they don't see the Charmander or the amateur in them. You know, Charizard is a third evolution of Charmander, meaning that there are two stages that Pokemon has to go through, has to evolve through, two different stages of challenges before they get to the creme de la creme. They get to what everybody, the superstar, the MVP that everybody wants. Like what I was asking myself recently, it's like, damn, like the initial question was like, well, what do they see in me now that they didn't see in me back then? And I think the real question is Chazz, what did you see in yourself now that you didn't see in yourself back then, that's allowing you to play at this level, at this magnitude? Because Cosmic has been the best of everything. I haven't played in as big of a crowd as I have since Cosmic. I haven't been in as intense of games as I have before, because making an error in front of 10,000 people is horrendous. And all these different things, they make me realize that it's like, damn, like I don't think I saw the Charizard in myself, because I'm way more confident in myself now than I was back then. I was very hesitant. I was very uncertain. I was very unsure. I lacked a whole lot of confidence. The only confidence that I got was from playing well. I didn't have any reinforcement or any coaches or any Hall of Famers or big leaguers at the time that gave me that advice, that told me that I was good, that, I could play catch with, or I could, call or text or reach out. I didn't have any of that. So I think that I think I was and still am a Charmander. I think I'm evolving. I think I'm a Charmeleon now, but I'm not a Charizard yet, and I'm just working. I'm getting there.